Hi friends! This recipe I'm going to share with you today is extra special because it comes straight from my great-grandma's old cookbook, and this particular recipe dated back to 1983. And it's her zucchini recipe. It's one of those old-fashioned treasures that's just too good not to share. The base of this recipe is zucchini, 6 cups shredded. Don't worry about peeling it, just give it a good wash and shred it up. The zucchini really takes on the flavor of the citrus and pineapple, so you don't actually taste the zucchini at all. It just gives body and texture. Now I'm adding 5 cups of sugar. And the recipe calls for 20 ounces of crushed pineapple. I didn't have any on hand, but I did have a can of pineapple tidbits. So I just chopped them up really fine, basically turning them into a crushed pineapple myself. I even weighed them just to see how much it would weigh once it was all chopped, and it came to 16 ounces, which was a little shy of what the recipe said, but it worked beautifully. So don't stress if you're a bit short on pineapple, it will still turn out great. Now it's time for the citrus. The recipe calls for 1 whole orange and 1 lemon. So I chopped both up finely and made sure to remove the seeds. The orange didn't have any seeds, but the lemon did. So I just took them out. Obviously, we don't want seeds in our marmalade. And once again, I'm using my Tupperware chopper. If you've been watching my videos, you see me use this a lot. But of course, you can just chop up your fruit with a knife, chop it nice and fine. And here's a little tip. If you want a marmalade with a slightly less bitter edge to it, you can peel off some of the rind and just use part of it instead of the whole peel. I went ahead and used the whole full orange and lemon because I love that tangy kick. But it's completely up to you whether or not you want to peel your orange and lemon. There was a note on my grandma's recipe that she had written, you can also add candied ginger. Well, I had candied ginger, so I put 3 slices in with my marmalade. I love ginger. It adds such a lovely warmth and depth of flavor to anything you use it in. And I just, after I made this marmalade and tasted it, I would always add that ginger just because it really was a lovely addition to this marmalade. Just remember, if you use fresh, it's going to give a sharper bite if you don't have the candied ginger. You could even swap the candied ginger for cinnamon or cloves for a spicier version, or even use lime instead of lemon for a different twist. Don't be afraid to experiment a little, and that's the beauty of these old recipes. They're forgiving and flexible. Just make sure you don't cut back on the sugar because that's what keeps it safe when you're preserving. There are lots of recipes online that use less sugar, so definitely you can look for those recipes, but that's not this one. So I am just adding my citrus in with the pineapple, the zucchini, and the sugar, and I'm just going to stir it really, really well. Get it all fully incorporated. And make sure that you're using a wide, heavy bottom pan because that will work best for even cooking when you're making your jams and jellies. Once you have everything mixed in, you're going to put it on the stove and you want it to come to a boil, and you're going to let it go for about 15 minutes. Keep an eye on it and stir it now and then so it doesn't catch on the bottom. You don't want it to burn. I am also making my hot zucchini jelly, which I've already posted a video up for that, and I was making that jelly the same time I'm making this marmalade. So that's what's being water bathed right now while I've got the marmalade going. So I'm just letting it do its thing. It's come to boil, which you can see, and now it's time to add some Jell-O. I've never used a Jell-O in my jams before, so this was a first for me. The recipe said you could use lemon or orange, and I decided to use the orange. And you just stir it really, really well. It's going to give a beautiful color, and it also helps set your marmalade as well. Now that my mixture has been boiling for 15 minutes, it's time to put it in the jars. So I'm using half pint jars, and I also use some smaller jars for little gift baskets. And just ladling it in, and you want to make sure you leave 1/4 of an inch headspace, which is the safe level for jams and jellies. When you're working with things that are chunkier like salsas and pickles, you would leave 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to fill up my jars, clean my rims, put on my new lids and rings. And I know not everybody water baths their jams or jellies. I've mentioned this before when I've done my peach jam. Completely personal preference and what you feel comfortable with doing for you and your family. But I generally always water bath my jams and jellies. I'm going to water bath my marmalade for 10 minutes based on my altitude. And in the description down below, along with the recipe, I will put the difference for timing based on the altitude where you live. So I had a full day of canning. I made this marmalade, and I made these 3 batches of my hot zucchini jelly, also called my nuke souk jelly. That recipe's up on my channel for you. We all enjoyed it last night with some cream cheese and crackers. Everybody loved it. It's delicious. And then the marmalade I had on some homemade sourdough toast, and it was phenomenal. So I would definitely be making it again. And here's the marmalade. I'm so happy with it. Alright guys, I am going to try this marmalade. First time. I had never made it before, and I have it on some of my homemade sourdough bread, and I'm anxious to try it because it smelled amazing while it was cooking. Mmm. That is really yummy. It's not overpowering considering I used the entire peel of the orange and the lemon. It's not, it doesn't have that huge tangy kick that I mentioned earlier in the video. It just has that really nice flavor that marmalade should have, and that little bit of ginger. The pineapple really adds a beautiful sweetness. That is awesome. And I was worried it was going to have a little bit of that Jell-O flavor to it. I don't think it does. I am really pleased with this. This will become one of my yearly recipes to make with my zucchini. It is that good. And I'm anxious to try it with lemon Jell-O, and also I do want to try it with the lime. Actually, it would be amazing with the lime, lemon, and the orange. Oh my goodness. This is a winner, 100%. So I hope you give it a try. Delicious. If you enjoyed this recipe, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe for more cozy country inspiration. And if you like even more old-fashioned recipes like this, be sure to check out my cookbooks and freebies. I'll link them in the description box down below. Happy cooking, and see you next time!